We're back. We are back at the Great Northern Sexcast. Hey, Colleen.
So, by the time folks are listening to this, it's going to be mid-December.
The 11th.
So we may, in fact, be still digging out of snowstorms. It looks like there's a few on their way, and then some ice. And I'm just... it's not like people have gone insane and bought, like, all the bread yet. Because this is, Minnesota, and we're used to it. Mm-hmm. But it just... Last year was weird because all winter happened in like February.
Oh my God. And then the blizzard in April.
Yeah. And then this year we seem to be starting early.
Yep.
So I'm just like, and I'm realizing I have hit the point in my age where weather is just at the top, like right here, just right at the top of everything. It guides everything, trying to figure out how I'm going to get folks to stores back and stuff like that. And I'm just like, but then, judging by some of the sales I've been making, I think people are thinking, if I'm going to be home, I might as well have sex.
Which is great.
So much cute lingerie is going out the door. I've been looking at some of the stuff. It's just...
That's great. Mm-hmm. That's great. So just for those of you who might be new, listening to the show for the first time, Colleen heads up a chain of retail stores called Fantasy Gifts. You can check it out at fantasygiftsmn.com. And we've been doing the show do you realize it's been 5 years?
Yeah.
5 years.
I had to go back and count because I lost count. At one point, I was putting the numbers of the show after the titles, and then I got away from it.
Gave up.
So, and then now there's so many of them that I haven't done that I keep losing count.
I know. It's.
I was just trying to figure it out, but then I realized we did our first one. It was like December of 14. But it was just like one in there.
5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then Sean, who put this all together, now he's doing another podcast.
He is.
With
Brian Oak.
With Brian Oak. And so I shared that in a few places. I figured it was only fair.
Is Sean on it, or is he?
Yeah, he's popped up a few times when I've listened to a few of them and stuff like that. Cool. So that was just, I'm like, my friend's like, you should sponsor this. I said, I'm sponsoring my own podcast.
Yeah. No,
but I just, so I said, no, I generally, I just haven't been, saying go do something or go listen to something else. But Sean got us involved. Been having fun doing this for, almost 5 years now. So it seemed fair to post the links on, some of our social media to the sites and stuff like that.
For sure. Absolutely. And Brian's a friend of mine as well. Mm-hmm. But 5 years we've been doing the Great Northern Sexcast, and all of our stories, another piece of little housekeeping here is we post them all on the Great Northern Sexcast Facebook page, which, by the way, I was looking at our logo again the other day, the old logo and the new logo. Our logo is the best logo.
It really is. I see a lot of different... everyone and their freaking grandmother has a podcast now. I'm not unaware that there's also just a shitload of podcasts about sex and a whole bunch of different stuff out there. And I'm just giggling because I'm like... Everything is like sort of ordinary. And then we have these beautiful talking vibrators with little headsets and little pine trees in the back because it is the Northern Sexcast.
And she did it the evenings, like the Northern. Yeah. I mean, she did.
So, Sarah, who does my stuff, she's we've been working together for years. And so I had like this idea. And anyone who knows me knows that I think out loud. Mm-hmm. That's how shit works. Mm-hmm. But she like crawls into my brain and she can sort of see what I'm seeing. Yeah. And it goes through there because I can visualize a lot of stuff, but I don't really have a lot of the actual drawing or certainly the skills or computer skills or stuff like that. I can't do it. I can see it in my head.
Yeah. But we have the best freaking logo. Mm-hmm. Best logo ever. Mm-hmm. So... Speaking of, let's start off with this one thing because we ended our last show with this, and I think this is a truly important piece. What do we have?
Okay, what it is, it's there's a local company called Intimate Rider. They're from Prior Lake, and they make an item called the Intimate Rider, and what it is a chair, a low seated chair that glides back and forth, and that means that generally for a man who is wheelchair bound but can transfer. There's a lot of stuff there, which is why I'll get to it. Why I'm just showing them off in the stores. I'm going to have samples in the store so that people can see the Intimate Rider, but I'm sending people directly to this company and directly to this company's website, Intimate Rider. just double check. IntimateWriter.com.
Okay.
And they can see what's going on, but it's a gliding armless chair. It folds up easy for storage, and the gentleman can get himself to this chair. There's a cot that goes with it, or how you're doing it, and you can have a more traditional sort of male on top, or sort of sex style.
Okay.
It's going through there.
Okay.
And it's with this really amazing fabric. It is it has support. It has everything on there that you would need to just sort of simulate a little bit more of the guy on top, or more traditional missionary position, although it is sort of seated. Mm-hmm. And so these items are in the store. They're around $300, but
that's really
but it's
not that
too
bad.
It's going through there, and you do have to there's a lot. It's not motorized. You still need to have functional arms and different things. And like I said, there's so many things you sort of have to think about that I would like someone to go directly through the company, IntimateWriter.com.
Okay.
To see if this is possible. If you or stop in, look at it in the store. I think it's going to the majority of the stores, and the signages in all of them.
That's great.
But I just could not have. I just looked at this. And said, this is too spectacular.
It's wonderful, and it's for people that could have lost their functionality in any number of ways. And this first came up in conversation last show because we talked about the first ever penis and scrotum transplant that was successful, and so and that involved a military veteran who had been blown up. So this is wonderful. I'm glad that companies are working on this, and I think this should be covered by insurance.
Honestly, I think it should. Yeah.
I think it should absolutely be something that they could buy. That's wonderful. All right, one of my favorite people to take shots at.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Have shots with or take shots at? Sorry.
Shots at.
Okay.
See if you can guess. Goop.
Yeah, I was about to go Paltrow, right?
Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah. Okay. So she's got this website who gets sued a lot because she
does stupid things.
Right.
But although you do realize that the reason she has this website and does stupid shit is that she was blackballed by Weinstein. So she had to come up with other businesses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't regret any, that she has business, did different things, but I really do think that she's way out in La La Land on like the granite eggs and steaming your vagina and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. See, I'm very sorry to hear that she was blackballed by Weinstein because.
But I'm still going to make fun of the stupid shit on her site.
Well,
but now I sort of understand. Like, she was one of the first people to develop some of these lifestyle sites. A lot of folks have them. Stuff like that. I mean, Reese Witherspoon, as an actress, she was for various reasons was not finding jobs, and she ended up. She's the one that did. She produced Legally Blonde herself, just coming up with something, and she's got a new interview series on Netflix.
And she's adorable. I think she's cuter.
But I'm saying you're going through there. But so Gwen, I don't mind the idea. But she does come up with some stupid ass shit.
Well, I think the reason why she bugs me, and I have to admit, normally I'm not usually a hater, but she bugs me, and she's always come across to me as sanctimonious and just irritating in every possible...
she does have a much better than thou sort of concept going on. And
yes.
I'm more than willing to make fun of that shit.
Okay, good. So, but one thing I will say about her, and in addition to all the preposterous shit that she promotes on her website and has gotten sued over, she does have a way of naming things that I have to, despite my deep dislike of her, give her fucking credit for. For example, when she announced that she and Chris Martin of Coldplay were getting a divorce, she called it a conscious uncoupling. That said, in her multiple gift guides that she's releasing for the holidays, she has dubbed, there's something in there called a restraining arts kit. A restraining arts. It's bondage. Okay? That's fantastic. That's fucking some word genius right there. Come on.
Word genius. Remember? Oh, what was the house? Remember there was a house in New Jersey that had the whole bondage room, and there was a description.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
there was a description of that.
Something lounge. It was a...
it's on one of our old shows you flop through, whatever. But there was some massively spectacular language on that, too. So
So you will find the Restraining Arts Kit in her gift guide called The Ridiculous But Awesome Gift Guide. Okay? So, it's got DIY restraining straps. it's, really great. 130.
Oh my God. That is hilarious. Now we have a ton, and I know I spoke about this on the last podcast too. We got a bunch of stuff in from Sport Sheets.
Okay.
And it's a family run business. They've been doing lovely bondage stuff for years. I would definitely look at that. They've got a new line called Saffron that's in this beautiful sort of an orangey red. You notice when you see like the saffron threads in the jar? Mm-hmm. That's the color.
Ooh.
It's just gorgeous.
Ooh, that's
They're
pretty.
so pretty. And then we have a couple of the stores that are larger because I've got some stores that are huge and like that. We have a line of bondage stuff from California Exotic. They're a spectacular company, but my heart will always belong to Sport Sheets. It was a brother-sister company that we found. My brother and I found years ago at this houseware store, show in Chicago. Oh my God. Because it wasn't all the industry stuff that there is now. And they're just really, really, really nice stuff. Well made at a good price.
Very cool.
Sometimes the stuff can be so expensive.
Very cool. Well, being that I really do have an inner 11-year-old boy that finds all things fart related pretty funny,
Farts are just fun. I don't care. They're just funny, and that's all there is.
Farts are funny. So did you hear about Fartgate?
I sort of did, and there were, there's a lot of stuff going on with the impeachment hearings and a lot of misinformation and, just not understanding exactly how our Constitution works. But I have to admit that the side show of Fartgate is sort of funny. So
if you haven't heard about it, please allow me to fill you in. Hardball with Chris Matthews, a California state rep, or not, he's a congressional member, Eric Swalwell, was talking to Chris Matthews, and there is this sound that erupts over the tape. And it sounds like just an extraordinarily robust, wet fart. Okay?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I've watched it at least 400 times. And if you even Google his name, it comes up and it says it wasn't me. And then MSNBC tried to come up and say, it was the sound of a coffee cup going across the audio board back at the studio. Now, Chris Matthews was in studio. Eric Swalwell was probably in the halls of Congress. He was on location somewhere. So this sound could have been picked up. It could have been Chris Matthews.
Yeah.
But somebody fucking farted. It was not a coffee cup.
It was not a coffee cup.
I'm not saying it was Swalwell, but it was a fart.
Yeah, it could have easily, honestly, the coffee cup thing is that there are plenty of chairs that when you sit on them make noise. They needed, if they were going to come up with some sort of, weird explanation for it.
The engineer scooted in his leather chair.
Yeah.
But the coffee cup I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. No.
Yep.
Mm-mm. Sorry.
I was trying to find the name of that house. You can still Google that house in New Jersey that had the sex basement, but the sentence at the real estate there was not. It was the two articles
something lounge. It was a lounge. I know that word was in there, but I cannot remember.
Yeah.
But what was it again? What did I say? Restraining arts kit.
Yeah, restraining arts. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I got to give her, as much as it pains me, I've got to give Gwyneth Paltrow credit for that. And I do slightly apologize knowing that she got slammed by Weinstein. That's not fair. I don't wish that on anybody, not even her. Who ate the Sara Lee? Takes on, remember that slogan? Who ate the Sara Lee? Remember Sara Lee?
Is that for that little coffee cake or for the pound cake?
Oh, I don't
because
know.
Because I still buy the pound cake because honestly, if you're gonna decide to have a strawberry shortcake, the little angel food cups just get too mushy. It's going through there. And I don't want to, and I'm not really fond of the drier biscuit, but just buying a frozen Sara Lee pound cake and slicing that up or cubing that up and then putting the strawberries and stuff.
It's good.
It's the best thing. Yeah. It really is the best
They've got a couple items that, for processed, I like to bake. I'm kind of a snob, but Sara Lee is solid. Okay. And I just remember that line. Well, that slogan came up and it's not mentioned anywhere in the story, but it becomes even more funny when you hear what happened. So Saturday Night Live did a skit, and all of a sudden, it flooded the Sara Lee, the actual company Instagram account, It's Harry Styles playing a Sara Lee social media manager who mistakenly posts adult-themed comments about photos under Sara Lee Desserts brand. Now people are posting the comments on the actual,
Oh my God, I missed this completely. I mean, I generally don't want to, they're out or asleep by the time Saturday Night Live comes on. But I do, of course, with the social media, I tend to see all the best skits, but I missed this one. I'll see the YouTube clips of all this stuff.
Stuff like feeling really depressed after the threesome, wreck me daddy. I mean, all this kind of stuff, on and on. So the brand's parent company says, well, gosh, we were initially thrown for a bit of a loop. We didn't delete any comments, but we temporarily hid them until we could read through and understand what happened. And all comments are now visible, and they're just going to monitor. But they said, it didn't participate in the sketch, but, we were taking it in stride, and look, we're talking about him. So,
No, they used to have a little frozen coffee cake that was just delicious.
No, they have some good stuff. I might go actually check out the freezer section now again. So here comes Gwyneth Paltrow again. But this is a story about cohabitation. And apparently, Whoopi Goldberg says, she's not into cohabitating with her significance. She's like, I know. So I knew you'd love this story. She was on the Tamron Hall show, and she's like, look, it's a big commitment. And she goes, I don't want to work stuff out. She's like, I don't want to share money. I know that's terrible, but I don't want to. And she mentions Big Bang Theory actor Kaylee Cuoco, who she and her husband live apart at least while their house is being built. Gwyneth Paltrow only lives part-time with her husband, Brad Falchuk. And she's like, look, I don't want your drawers on my bathroom floor. And,
She wants things the way that she wants things. Just like I want things the way that I want things. I mean, I know that I've talked about this before, but there was a house built near me that had 2 master suites. And the reason they're doing this is, okay, first of all, people are getting married later. So they've got their own routines. Is going through there, or someone's got a medical issue and they need to sleep apart, or there's just so many different reasons. But people just they're sleeping and then there's sex, and sometimes the two of them cannot happen in the same bedroom.
Well, The Crown.
Yeah.
Have you
I binged series 3 already.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, in the first 2, when they were actively producing children, they show Philip converging on Elizabeth, and it works out just fine for them. But yeah.
Yeah, I've like I said, I've watched season 3, and it's a little. It's not. It's. I knew less about what was going on. And so the first 2 seasons were a little bit more, you're like, ooh, that's interesting. And now that it moved up a few years, it's closer to where I may have, run across something or, it's just another stuff going through there. But I still find that I have to Google a lot of stuff.
I love that about that show, though.
Because I'm like, okay. And there was, not to give it away, but there was just almost every episode, I have to take a look at the supporting characters to see, more to see more about it. And I honestly, I sort of like the fact that they haven't dumbed it down and sort of like a toddler show where they explain everything, 3 times. You got to do a little work if you want to really enjoy this show, unless you're a total Anglophile. I'm not, so.
We're only 3 episodes in. We just watched the one that featured Philip's mother. Oh, I knew none of this. That was fascinating. It's a great, and I'm sorry, but the actress that's playing the Queen now, Olivia Colman, I've watched several series in BritBox.
You mean
Love
Oscar?
her.
You mean Oscar winner Olivia Colman?
Is she Oscar winner?
I think she won last year.
Really? For what?
I think for playing the Queen.
Really?
A different Queen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's
she's got freaking chops, man. Oh yeah, she's awesome in this role. Okay, look. Oh my God, we diverted. Okay, Dubai. I gotta say, quite honestly, for the most part, I never plan in my lifetime to visit the Middle East, just for so very many reasons.
Yeah,
but Dubai, I would like to see.
Okay.
It looks just batshit interesting.
Is this the one where they're just consistently building? They're trying to build like an island that are shaped like a palm tree, and they just have the weirdest ass shit.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just honestly have no idea what to do with their goddamn money.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I would like to see this just absolute outrageous, obscene, ridiculous exercise of wealth. I think it would be just crazy fun. But they have a bar there. Yay. But they're drawing female customers in with an unusual promotion, which for the Middle East, I'm a little bit surprised about this.
Well, the only people that could possibly drink there would be female tourists, not in view of anybody else, because I didn't think that booze was allowed.
Unclear. See, this is where the secular Muslim, I don't know how this works, but it's a place called the Fusion Club. And it's at the Castles Al Barsha Hotel. Yep. They're running a special through the end of the year, offering 12 cents in free drink credit for every pound that a female customer weighs. So a 150-pound woman would get $18.50 drink credit.
Okay.
Bar manager says there is a scale, but customers are allowed to use the honor system. And, they're like super happy. And the quote from the bar manager is, "We believe in the magnanimity of our lady guests. They can write the weight on the paper and give it to the bartender discreetly. And we want to make them," they said.
This is the one time where you want to actually weigh more.
Right. Right. But he says this promotion's motto is it's good to gain weight. But it's a body positivity thing, whatever. Worth my weight in tequila. That'd be awesome.
Okay, so how much? Wait a minute. How much was the
12 cents?
12 cents. Okay, I just was at the doctor for. Let's see.
Really, if it's a swanky hotel, that's not even probably the price of a whole drink for 150 pounds. $18.50.
Oops. 0.18, 0.12. 0.12.
Colleen's checking it out.
I would have about $25 worth of credit, which to this day's age is about 2 cocktails.
Yep. Depending on, like I said, how expensive it is there, which I would imagine it would be very. This is I love this story. This is a good Florida story. It does not involve nudity, but it does involve a Colorado woman who lost her wedding ring on a beach. She was in Cocoa Beach, and sorry, but what an idiot. Claire Land is her name. She took it off to put sunscreen on, and it disappeared. And she, ripped everything apart, blah, 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 posted about it on Facebook. And this guy had this website. His name is, if this ever happens to you, by the way, public service announcement, don't take your fucking wedding ring off on a beach. Okay. But this guy named Dave Mollison runs a website called The Ring Finders. And he was worried. He said, well, I don't know. A lot of people are there. We'll see what we can do. He actually did a pattern around where she said she was, and he found it and sent it back to her. And she was so happy. So, that's cool. You don't get enough of those.
I had a ring for my grandmother that I was wearing once, and I was visiting the Bristol Renaissance Fair a little bit in Wisconsin, a little north of Chicago. And I just looked down one day, and it was there, and the ring was gone. Oh, no. Which makes no sense, because generally when you're out there, it's hot, my hands swell and all that. So I have no idea when it came. So we tore apart my car, and we tore apart the hotel room we were staying at. I left things that was gone. But I just don't know. But I wore it there because I figured my hands would swell. Yeah. But I have never worn a ring to a beach. I'm not married, so I've never, I don't have that ring that was got. But I don't wear jewelry to the beach.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, it's funny. I have my wedding ring, but then I have a ring on my right hand that belonged to my late aunt. And she gave this to me when I was about 24. And I don't think I've had it off since. And I just always wear it.
Does it come over your knuckle? Yeah. Do you have to work really hard? Okay.
Yeah, I do have to work to get it off, especially today after, pigging out yesterday. But yeah, it comes off. But I have worn this ring more than half of my life.
Yeah. And I wore the ring because, and if you lost it, you would be really, really sad.
I would.
But would you prefer that you have worn it and enjoyed it for all these years than having it stuffed in a safe deposit box somewhere?
For sure. But I wouldn't take it off to put sunscreen on a beach. Okay.
Gotta be. Yeah.
I'm done.
I don't. Yeah. I don't. I suppose you're not supposed to get stuff on there, but you could just wash your hands.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and there's ring cleaner.
I bet you there's water nearby.
Yeah, I'm just guessing. There's ring cleaner too. If you gook it up, clean it up. All right. So there's a gynecologist that you do not want to go see, and his name is Dr. Marco Godoin. And being that he's over in the UK, I'm not in danger of bumping into this guy.
Okay.
But listen to this. He went on a radio show and said that the reason why the number of babies born via C-section has nearly doubled in the past 15 years is because of fat vagina syndrome. Just let that sit for a minute. So he said women have fat vaginal canals, leaving less space for babies to be born. Quote, with obesity, you've got increased tissue in the birth canal, which makes the birth canal that much narrower, which makes it harder for the baby to squeeze through the birth canal. So doctors and women everywhere have been slamming him. Another obstetrician called bullshit, and said this has nothing to do with fat vaginas. It has to do with the size of the baby with regard to the size of the vagina. That could be height. That could be, if the baby's overdue. It could be the way the baby was turned, blah, blah, blah.
And there are folks that do schedule C-sections for various reasons and different things and other medical reasons. And there are more because there are more reasons, I wouldn't do that. But I'm pretty sure that fat vagina is not one of them. I'm not saying that obesity couldn't be an issue, but it's probably not there.
But this same doctor says, look, there's a rising maternal age as well, and the older women are, they're more predisposed to, pregnancy diabetes, things like that, and et cetera, et cetera. So,
yeah, I never had any need to birth my own baby. So it was going through there. I've been at a lot of different births. I've watched 9 children come into this world. It's pretty awesome.
That's amazing. You just kept getting asked to be a birth coach, huh?
I'm really good at this, I guess. I breathe well, from what I understand. And I think
you're really calm,
and I
too.
don't. Yeah, I don't freak out. And just go through there, but I just. Yeah, I mean, none of the. I've had friends who have had both, types of births, and each one was perfectly valid. It doesn't change anything. But at no point during those times did anyone ever mention the size of their vagina. It was all about how big the kid is.
Right on.
And what position the kid was in.
Yep.
Now, there are some really, really, really tiny women out there. And if they're going to have a 12-pound baby, they're going to be a problem.
Oh,
but that is not, but believe me, that is not, no. Yeah.
There is a gal that I work with who is maybe 5 feet tall. And she is a micro person. I mean, her hips, honest to God, are like this. And she's pregnant. And I'm thinking, and already, she looks like an olive on a toothpick, okay? And she's like 7 months. And I'm just like, how in holy hell is she going to do this? With her.
But hips, they do. We are built to do that for the most part.
But it's, I can't, it freaks me out when I think about it. So here's another PSA. We're just full of PSAs today, Colleen. So there was I went down the Reddit hole again. I'm not gonna lie, but this is funny. This is airport security people, because we're in the holiday season, right? Yep. And they're like, hey, guys and gals, you've got to take the batteries out of your sex toys before you pack them, because
where did one go off?
At the airport.
Oh, yeah, the airport. But what? Yeah,
they have to, if they hear buzzing, they have to go and open it and do all of that other kind of stuff. And it's a pretty common thing. Sometimes if the passenger is there, like if the passenger's already on the plane, they will bring you in, and they're like, we don't like it any more than you do. So please just take the batteries out.
Yeah. I did travel once with 2 enormous dildos in my carry-on luggage. This is long before September 11th, heading down to spring break. My brother was in fraternity, and he asked me for a whole list of shit. And I'm like, okay. So I put it all in my carry-on. And I'm just like, this is going to be fun if someone... It went right... they still had... Well, were the carry-on bags x-rayed back then? I can't remember whatever. Maybe they were looked at, but nobody cared. I think it was because a few years before that, we brought a cat home from my grandparents, just in my sister's purse. It was a little tiny stray kitten.
Aw. And you were allowed to take it on the plane?
We didn't ask. We just did.
Aw.
I mean, we didn't think it was going to live. It's so tiny.
It did make it?
Oh, it made it.
Oh, that's good.
We named it Jersey.
Nice.
This cat was so lazy because, of course, the first few weeks of its life or whatever, days or whatever else, it was so hungry. It would lie down and hang its head into the food bowl.
Aww.
This cat was spending no extra energy, and it never really got over the idea that there may not be food. Like the cats I have now, it took a year, but they no longer scarf their food down like this might be, going through there.
Yeah.
I never happened to Jersey.
Aw, poor Jersey. Well, at least it found a nice home.
Oh, yeah. So we're like, and my grandfather like, it's a cat. And we're looking at that. And my parents said, okay, we'll try. So we just put it in a shoebox. We put it in my sister's big, like, la bag, or we remember those things back then or whatever the else. And at one point, she's looking at it. At one point, what the flight attendant says, we have a stowaway. They didn't care. Because, I mean, really, it was tinier than my hand.
We talked a couple weeks ago about No Nut November. I guess there's something else called No Shave November. Have you heard about this?
Well, it's okay. Well, no, mind you, I was contemplating not shaving because I'm wearing pants. So it's no skirts. It's cold in Minnesota. But when I get to the point where some of the hair gets long enough that the fan in my room sort of makes it go around, then I got to make the hair go away.
You're talking about leg hair?
Leg hair, yeah.
This is actually regarding pubes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. There's a Playboy model who did a funny prank thing. Her name is Francia James. And she's walking around in a trench coat, and she's got like a vagina wig.
No, a merkin. Those are merkins.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the name.
Yep.
And she's being trailed by a crew, and she's running around, and she is approaching guys and flashing them and saying, "What do you think of girls doing No Shave November? Bush or no bush?" And the first person that they caught on tape, he couldn't even speak. He was just like, "Oh my God." In the next clip, she comes across the second guy, does the same thing, rips her flasher coat open. He goes, "No bush." And he looks terrified and runs away. And then she keeps getting the no bush. And then finally, she...
I really I still have all these years. It's just a difficult time over the idea that a grown woman is not supposed to have any hair there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a secondary sex characteristic. It's there for a reason. I mean, it just...
Yeah.
I mean, obviously when you wear a swimsuit or you do something or a slinky dress, you don't want stuff sticking out.
Right.
But I've been flummoxed by this for decades. I do not understand.
Yeah.
But to each their own, I get it. But I understand that the younger folks are getting away from it.
Yeah.
Because the cost is just, it's expensive. I know what it is to do my legs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Reindeer boobs are back.
Decorating your
Dear boobs.
Dear boobs.
Yep. And the company Go Get Glitter. And they've got Christmas pudding boobs out and sparkly jingle bums. And here we go. So
we have some fun pasties in with some big red glitter stickers and some different things and some. Do we get the gingerbread ones in? Can't remember. But I saw some cute pasties, and I know that our online site, because remember the online site for Fantasy Gifts is in partnership, so there's thousands of more items there, and so you can definitely find some fun Christmas themed items. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So comedian Monique, do you know her?
Yeah, I haven't heard from her in a long time. She, I don't know if she's got a shows or what she's been doing or whether she's doing stand up. I know. Was she hosting something for a while?
Well,
I can't remember.
I'm not really sure, but she basically is suing Netflix right now for race and gender discrimination, saying it gave her a lowball offer for a comedy special because she's a black woman. She said she was offered a talent fee of $500,000 for a special, while other stars were offered tens of millions. And so she's suing, and we'll see.
Honestly, you do not see a lot of women with Netflix specials, so I don't know what's going through. There's a few here and there. There was just one the other day that I tried to watch, and I'm just like, it was all about babies, and I'm like, well, okay, I think I'm a little too old for this particular comedian. But then there was someone else I watched that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My brother turned me on to
Oh, no, not babies, weddings. I don't give a shit about weddings. Baby ones I watch. Wedding themed, I didn't. Okay, sorry.
Oh, no worries. So, yeah, I mean, my brother's turned me on to a couple comedians, but honestly, I've felt like it's been a kind of a desert, a comedy desert for a while. There hasn't been anybody come out that has just cracked me completely up in a long time, which I lament.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of names, and I have no idea who these people are.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, this freaks me out. I'm not going to lie. This is a good news story, but it freaks me out, and you'll understand why when I tell you. 2 serial rapists have been caught, yay, one in California, one in South Carolina, thanks to genealogy. So, one guy, Giles Daniel Warwick, he is accused of sexually assaulting 10 women and killing one in the D.C. area back in the 90s. He got arrested, and, he was called the Potomac River Rapist.
So how are they? How is genetic? How is like 23andMe catching rapist?
Well, okay, it's very complicated actually, but here's the bottom line of this. If you are a private citizen and you do this because you want to know, because I think it'd be fascinating, but you end up in the database and police have access to it. I can't fully explain it, but what I can tell you is, like a friend of mine, I think we talked about this a few months back. A friend of mine did her ancestry thing, and through the profiles in this whole big database, a friend of hers who does this as a hobby found her biological birth mother.
Oh, that's right. You would think that there would be a way to opt out from your stuff being searchable. You know what I mean? It's going through there. Yeah. I mean, I'd be curious about the area of the world that I came from, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't need to know if my grandfather had illegitimate children that I don't know about. I just don't care.
Well, and what I didn't like about my friend's case is that her biological mother did not submit her DNA. She was matched to relatives of hers who did. And then, it's like, that's just, I just don't like that. I don't like that. And unfortunately, she contacted her birth mother and promised that she wouldn't pursue it if she didn't respond. And the woman didn't respond. So she didn't want to be found, is what we conclude thus far.
Yep.
It's been probably about 6 months. But so you go into a database, everybody, just know that. But I'm glad they're catching criminals, but...
Yeah, and then I also don't know how this is going to be used. I mean, because we have such a fucked healthcare system in this country.
Right.
About how it could be used against you if we ever lose pre-existing conditions.
Right.
I mean, almost no one's insurable at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, being a woman is pre-existing.
Right.
Because you can have a kid. It's just bullshit.
Right. The other one they caught was in California, and he was accused of sexually assaulting 2 women in California back in the late 90s. So unbelievable. That's great, but I still find this ever so slightly concerning. No, not slightly, very.
Yep.
Okay. Speaking of concerning, this one, I don't know what to do. 28-year-old woman in Utah is fighting lewdness charges and trying to get state law changed after she was accused of exposing her breasts to her 3 stepkids. So apparently, this gal named Tilly Buchanan could end up behind bars and be forced to register as a sex offender if she gets convicted of 3 misdemeanor charges stemming from an incident that took place in her home in the fall 3 years ago. Prosecutors say, are differing with her on the time frame, but basically, this whole thing started was when she and her husband stripped off dirty clothes down to their underwear after putting up insulation in their garage. They were getting ready to go in the shower, and apparently her 3 stepkids, 2 boys and a girl, aged 9, 10, and 13 at that point, came in and saw her topless. She said she decided to use the situation as a teaching moment, that they shouldn't feel uncomfortable seeing her chest because their dad's chest was there. Prosecutors, however, say that she took her shirt off in front of them after saying if her husband could be topless, so could she. And they also say she was under the influence of alcohol, and she said that she'd only put her shirt on if he showed his penis. And, the law has to do with bearing your, breasts. And it's, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it is fascinating because if she had adopted the kids, they would have been her kids. And I don't think seeing your mom's boobs makes you a sex offender. Is it going through?
Well, if your mom took them off, I don't know. Took your shirt, I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know. My kids saw my boobs. I mean, people get in the shower with their. I don't know. I'm very confused by this.
I don't know. I mean,
if you're in your own home, seeing a family member, it depends. Was she actually being lewd about it, or what's going through there? What's the story? There's stupid, and then there's lewd, and then there's.
See, I don't know if she's still with the stepfather or with the man. If he didn't leave her because he didn't think it was. I think this is getting real.
Yeah,
touchy.
Well, like you said, we just don't have. There isn't. There's not enough individual information or even responses to individual cases. Mm-hmm. Sometimes folks just treat the laws as everything's a cookie cutter, and this case and this case and this case are all the same, and they're not.
Yeah.
So, honestly, that's where elections matter. If you're electing a judge or who's appointing judges and stuff like that,
right.
You want someone, or even laws that are there, because if you hamstring or tie, judges and say this too, you've got a problem.
Yeah, it's weird. I know here in Minnesota, I know a little bit about this whole judge thing because when I was a news reporter, I covered a couple of judicial elections where they were trying to get the canons changed about what judges are allowed to say when they campaign. Unfortunately, when judges are appointed and then they face election, the electorate, even the most informed people, which I consider myself to be one, it's very hard to know what to do because they basically are prevented from having
an opinion.
Because they're So how do you know if you want this person on the bench or not? I mean, it's kind of messed up. It's catch-22. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the answer is there, but this one sounds squidgy enough to me that I'd rather err on I don't like to see innocent people convicted of stuff, and this is very cloudy to me.
Yeah. You're just wondering who leaked the story, what's going on, how is it being used, and stuff like that can pretty much tell where you are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So end it on a happy note. I don't want to leave it with this poor mother who could get in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. Give me a happy thought.
Let's see. Happy thoughts. Well, you got a couple of weeks until Christmas now.
That's good.
So there's all sorts of...
and there's a butt plug that
lights up. Yeah, like I said, whether or not I got to a video about it and put it on the site, I don't know, because it's amazing how I get distracted by stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. This is shiny though.
It's a shiny object.
But yeah. We got new dildos.
We did.
Yeah. There's new dildos at Fantasy Gifts. They're just getting unpacked now, and I think it's a new line of jelly pink ones. I mean, they're phthalate free. But the one I saw was this really neat pink that sort of looked like it was glowing, even though it wasn't.
Neat.
But there's more in there, and I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure they'll be out by the time we listen to this. But I've got new dildos, and they were very pretty. So if you need pretty dildos, we've got them.
That's a happy thought.
Mm-hmm.